This is La Pizarra, a place where we explore creative minds in the entertainment industry on both sides of the mic and the camera. Here is your host, Nikki Mondellini.
Welcome to another episode of La Pizarra. My name is Nikki Mondellini, and we are still going on with Season 6. And today I'm very, very excited because I'm going to be talking to a couple of dear friends and colleagues, and we have collaborated over the years. We're all in the sweetest town in Texas, as Ray would say, which is Sugar Land, Texas. And, they are experts on both sides of the camera and the mic. Their names are Ray Schilens and Bruce Abbott, and they are co-owners of Radio Lounge USA, a full-service audio production company that specializes in podcasts, voiceover, and anything of audio production for broadcasting, TV, and radio, and live events, and many other things. So I am very happy to be doing this interview also because Ray was one of the first people that actually told me, or suggested that I do a podcast. And I had the pleasure of being a guest on their podcast, Feel the Ad Love, which I'm going to link to in the show notes. So I'm very happy to bring this full circle now and have them on the show. So without further ado, we will start this wonderful interview. If you're a podcaster or you've been thinking about starting a podcast, I highly recommend the platform that has worked very well for me when it comes to recording interviews, and that's Squadcast, especially because of its amazing Dolby sound quality, which gives you advanced audio processing features like dynamic audio leveling for increased quality and clarity, immersive experience with sound moving around you thanks to advanced spatial audio, improved sound clarity with noise canceling and echo reduction, optimized bandwidth to help ensure everyone stays connected, and advanced network resilience to help maintain good audio quality in challenging network conditions. And you can download the sessions in a format that is easy to edit, so post-production is faster and publishing is quicker. Or you can download the mixed and master files. Try it out for 7 days at no cost by visiting squadcast.fm/ref=La Pizarra. You will find this link in the description. And you can also record video on Squadcast, which you can easily download into any video editing software. Depending on your membership, you can record up to 10 hours or more per month. They also have a great feature that uses autosave while you're recording to keep all the content, even in the case of technical failures, or if you forget to hit record when you're starting a session. And since you can record from anywhere, a cloud backup is available when you're not able to download your audio and video files. And I will let you know that tech support is very reliable. They will get back to you within a couple of hours to troubleshoot any issues. Go ahead and start your 7-day free trial today at squadcast.fm/ref=La Pizarra. After your free trial, you can decide which membership level best fits your needs, and you can pay monthly or annually at a discounted price. Find out all the amazing things you can do with Squadcast by clicking on the link. As president and partner of Radio Lounge, Ray's commitment to quality media has earned him much respect by his contemporaries. And overseeing all facets of broadcast production facility and organizational creative think tank, Ray has vast experience in various areas of advertising, marketing, and business leadership. Ray's extensive background includes broadcast programming and creative services management in Detroit, Houston, and Miami, Fort Lauderdale. His combination of creativity, dedication to quality, which I can attest to, and his strength in client relationship has driven his successful career. Ray is currently the host of Ad Speaks Houston, the podcast and radio program that promotes the programs and people behind the American Ad Federation in Houston. Ray is also a board member of the AAF Houston, and he is also the co-host of Feel the Ad Love. And if that wasn't enough, Ray is also a licensed pilot. And now we will talk about Bruce. Bruce Abbott has provided all types of voiceovers and narration for the past 20 years for a lot of big brand companies like HP, so Hewlett-Packard, Pearson Education, Verizon, Nickelodeon, Chevron, Google, Schlumberger, CBS Television and Radio, and hundreds more. And he's also the co-owner of Radio Lounge, as I mentioned before. And Radio Lounge is, like I said, it's a full production and sound design company. And they provide everything from coaching and production and to high-end voiceover demos as well. And they do a phenomenal job. And he is the co-host of Feel the Ad Love podcast. Now, we will talk about other special things and little secrets that you guys maybe haven't heard about from Bruce and Ray. But for now, I'm just going to give them a huge welcome. And guys, thank you so much for being guest on La Pizarra. I'm so happy you're joining me today.
I think it's wonderful. And I'm so happy for you that you're doing this as well and doing it well. You do everything over the top great.
Thank you so much.
Again, I think it's kind of comical.
Thank you so much.
We're people with microphones hanging over our heads, sitting in phone booths, talking to each other from around the country.
I know, this is so nice.
Yeah, you're doing great at this, Nikki. This is
well,
good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, you have been one of my mentors, and so I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, oh, I have to be perfect today. But if I'm not,
no, you don't.
There we go.
No. Let's not be perfect today. Okay, let's just be
there
us.
You go.
Don't you think, Bruce? I think we should be you and me and Nikki.
You know, that's all we can be.
Yes,
we
exactly.
can be.
Just relaxing. Just relaxing.
That's all.
Well, I'm going to jump in with a few.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Nikki.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm just going to jump ahead with a few questions because I have many things that I want to, ask you and others that you will obviously just talk about on your own, which is amazing. But, the first thing is, Ray, as a licensed pilot that you've been flying all over, trying to find the perfect burger joint, what have you found? Mm-hmm. I want to know that because we live in the same town. And so...
Oh, there are so many places to go. And it's funny you mentioned that. I'm in the process of buying an airplane.
Wow.
Now. And some people, you would say, wow, but they're not as expensive as we think they are. The freedom of flight is so amazing. It's like you're in a different place. You do think of nothing else but being, and especially on a day like today, here in Houston, we have blue skies. It's called CAVU, Clear and Visibility Unlimited. That's the feeling. And it takes you to a different place. And I'm sure that everybody has something that they do. I know Bruce loves the ocean. When you're there, and you're nowhere else. And that's the cool part about flying. Also, sharing the love of aviation is a fun thing too as well. I was involved with the Civil Air Patrol for many years and just about to get back involved here in Sugar Land with them as well. But again, sharing that passion and sharing all of the cool vibes that go along with that. Bruce's son, Shane, has a love and an interest in that area.
Wonderful.
As well. And he's now a part of Civil Air Patrol.
Yeah, he's part of the Civil Air Patrol here in this out of the Sugar Land Airport. So
that's
very, very cool.
So flight is wonderful. It was a gift. My wife, back in the 70s when I got my license, she goes, "You better do this now because you won't be able to later. We'll be too busy." And she was right. So because of her, I am a pilot. By the way, we're recording this one day prior to my 51st wedding anniversary. There's a factoid.
Congratulations.
That you did not know.
Wow.
So we're going 51 years, the 26th. So
oh, wow.
Cool
that is amazing. Yeah.
So a lot of great things. And you've met Catherine before, and you know what an incredible person
she is. She's a lovely, lovely lady. Yes, you guys have an amazing family, wonderful kids and grandkids. And so, yes, yeah.
An inspiration. Always a cheerleader, always a supporter, and always
and have you taken her on an airplane? I mean, does she like to fly as well? Yeah?
Not as much as I do, but there again, that's an indicator of her selfless demeanor. She makes sure that other people have the opportunity to do things that they enjoy. So that's I think that's part of the formula of longevity. 51 years. It's you look out for the other person and make sure they're feeling
that is amazing.
So that's the marriage. That's the marriage part of Nikki's podcast.
Yes,
today.
we.
That's a real long answer.
Welcome
to
to Marriage and Family Counseling. No,
you know what's funny? You know what's funny about counseling and talking about voice coaching and everything? It really is not here. It's up here. And what we find is the people that come to Radio Lounge for voice coaching, they leave. It's more of a psychology thing than anything else. Of course, we teach the business of voiceover and craft, the attributes that lead to being a successful voice actor. But more importantly, and every time it happens over and over and over again, it's like, I feel so good about myself. I realize that I can do something that I didn't think I can do. So it's more in the head than any place
else. Oh, I agree.
Else.
I totally agree. And, you produce amazing demos. And talking about that, and in the process of that, because I know people always look for, like a good demo producer, and they want to, if they have them already, then and they want to update them, or people who are just starting out. And what things do you recommend, or things that you have seen that are important to put in demos now that maybe you didn't see a few years ago?
Bruce, do you want me to take this? Do you want to take this?
Well, I think that you have to be aware of. Yes, you have to be aware of current trends. Obviously, voice acting and delivery is very different now than it was 10, 15, 20, years ago. I mean, very definitely just look at how the styles have changed. But I think also, you look at the trends outside of voiceover, where things like authenticity, transparency. When you're an actor, whether you're on camera or you're behind a microphone, yes, you can take on other characters, if that's the word I'm looking for. But when it comes down to it, you're yourself. That's all you can be. I do a lot of work in corporate and e-learning, and I just come at it with the approach of I'm me. I'm not somebody else. I'm not whatever. So I am that person that is sitting at the computer or maybe the front of the room teaching. This person who is taking, let's say, an e-learning course that their job requires it, or they're taking it to achieve some upgrade in their job or something like that. So, and the demos they reflect that too, is that when you pull up a demo, you don't necessarily want to have the demo producer's stamp on it. You want that to be just the vehicle. It's like all we're doing is providing the vehicle for the best of the best and that person's authenticity to stand out. And I think that's where, before they really had to be, glorious and wonderful. I mean, they still have to be great. Don't get me wrong. You can't be stumbling and mumbling. You have to be able to be, but it's that whole idea of, it's natural now. It's more organic.
I totally agree. I definitely think things, trends have become so much more that, whenever you see the specs for any auditions coming in, they push for that so much more than ever before. Before it used to be, oh yes, we just want it to be conversational. That's not a word that is being used as much right now. They just want authenticity. They do not want it to sound like an announcer and,
Announcer, yeah. Mm-hmm. Authenticity is connectivity as well, and as far as the individualistic approach to demos, and we've seen this by other some of our competitors. They'll allow the talent to pick the content, which is totally wrong. How we approach both coaching and both the demo production is it's almost like going to your favorite store and you look on the rack and you go, I wonder what that would look like on me or whatever. All of the things that we use are a good fit for the voice actor. It has to be that way. You have to fit the brand. You have to fit the style of delivery and such. And we do that through the process of coaching. And what we do, it's a process of fine-tuning and discovering. Fine-tune, discover, and then launch with a demo as a kind of a graduation exercise. So the content has to fit the voice actor, and you can't make a voice actor be somebody who they are not. Many of these voice actors want to be animate people as well. And it's like, okay, can you really, really, really do that? And we find sometimes that, no, you can't do that. Or you need to go and get further training, possibly some acting and such, and maybe some improv or something to kind of build that. But for the most part, the process of the coaching and the demo is a good fit. When it's done, it fits the person and it looks good and feels good on them. Because everybody, and you guys know this, we are all very specific in our DNA in terms of who we are and what we can do. As soon as we realize that and understand that, we can operate very well in that circle.
And has it happened to you guys, sorry to interrupt, Bruce, but has it happened to you that some people that come to you to look for a demo, they want a demo produced in a genre that, as you say, Ray, it probably doesn't fit them well, or people that really want to jump into it without having to go through the coaching process. They just want to speed things up, and we know that in the business, sadly, then there's companies that are what we call demo mills, But I know that with you guys, integrity and attention to detail and quality comes first, and you don't end up producing something for someone who is not ready for it, And I think that part of coaching and getting to know the voice actor before you jump into the demo is so, so important.
Yes, it is.
That's the thing, is it really depends on the voice actor. It depends on where they are in their career. We had the pleasure of doing a demo of yours, Nikki, and that was one where you came to us. You knew exactly what you wanted. You are at a certain status of voice acting. So it's at that point, it's getting your vision and matched with our expertise and kind of putting it all together. Yeah. We're at that point, we're not having to train you in what you're about to do. You knew what you wanted, you knew exactly, and it was just a matching of the demos. And so what we have in certain situations, there are times where there's times where we've said no, because we're not going to do that. We're not going to go and just take your money for it and do that, because we know that, in other words, there's the demo, and then there's everything after the demo, and that the demo is just part of your calling card. It's like your business card. It's and so we don't want to put something out there that you're not going to be able to take and effectively get work and have success with that. At that point, we'll recommend. We do coaching in a lot of different areas, but there's some areas that we don't. Mm-hmm. And so there are some areas where we will say, hey, maybe look at, here are some of our favorite coaches in this particular genre, and so we'll kind of guide them if we need to. But, ultimately, they have to feel like, okay, well, what I got was of value. And we have to be able to, just with integrity say, hey, you know what, we brought out the best in you. Sometimes that takes a while of training, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes we come in and we get some pros that come in and we just work together and bam, they just knock it out of the park, and it's awesome. Well.
Yes.
So it varies, but that's the key, as you said. It's knowing the talent.
Yeah.
It's knowing that person. It's the psychology of it.
Everything that we do bears our name. Therefore, if we do a demo for you, it's got our name on it, or our fingerprints, and we need to make sure that demo is good. Let me give you a couple of examples of folks. There was a gentleman who came in who was high on the autism scale, but I wanted to see what we can do and make that happen. I had to think about that for a while, think about the best way to approach that. And you know what? We got there, and it was a big victory for him.
Oh, good for him.
And for us as well. Another gentleman came in who he opened his mouth, and he was Morgan Freeman. And it was not, he didn't try. He opened his mouth, and it was Morgan Freeman. But the problem is he had trouble reading. So instead of doing voice coaching, we did reading lessons and got him to a more comfortable place so that when he was in the booth, he could actually perform and do that. So you approach things from all different ways. And there are some people that we say, go get that improv, go get that acting before we can do something. Mm-hmm. There are also, and I'll equate this to golf, if you golf, you develop bad habits, okay? If you're a disc jockey, you've developed bad habits. So what we have to do is we have to break those bad habits, and that does not happen overnight. And some people are resistant to change with those bad habits and don't really get that. But that's a process as well. So there are so many little things that we do that are so important. But going back to what I said before, again, whoever comes through Radio Lounge as a coaching student or a demo client, they are wearing our name. And we have to make sure that what we've done is make them feel good, that we've made them accomplish something that they may not have thought of, or given them something that is worthy of their talent. So that's really important. We're the opposite end of the demo mill, and that's a good thing.
And just to tag onto the end of that, we also believe in, when we do these demos, we're obviously helping, we're guiding the talent in the recording process. We don't do tricks, we don't do production tips, the tactics to make somebody sound different than who they are. We want to present something that if that person goes into a session, they can replicate that live with a client. And we've been on both sides of the glass for many years. We've been in the booth, we've been on the production side. We have been in some uncomfortable recording situations where we've got clients and an agency behind us. We've got a talent in the booth, and they cannot replicate a specific read that they were hired to replicate from their
That's
demo.
a problem.
And it was not pretty. No. And as the production component of that piece of the pie on that, and being a talent and a voiceover coach, it was just all you could do is just cringe as this very uncomfortable situation took place. Yeah. So that's a thing too. And again, that goes back to that whole authenticity. Be who you are. Don't. If you're not the big golden throat. No, you're not. That's not your. No. That's
just
not.
Like play to your strengths. That's what you have to do. Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah,
be you.
And that's the discovery process that we use for for the coaching and for the demo. It's like, we're not trying to make you somebody different. You've got to be you. And there is a limitation to, depending upon where we are at in our voiceover career, of what we can do. And we take that person to that place. Yeah. And it's a very, I think reinforcement, positivity. There are some coaches out there, I will not name who they are, that are very, very, very tough to work with because of their demeanor and the way that their coaching style. And that's not us. We don't do that. We play to the person. They're on the upside, the positivity side, and that's so important. So
exactly.
important.
I want to segue now into podcasting, because that is also something that you guys do very well, not only because of your own podcast, but also producing other people's podcasts. And so what is it that you do in specific, to let people know if they're ready also to start doing a podcast? What are the things that you tell them when a client approaches you and all that? Because it's hard specifically for people that are not voiceover artists, but that have a very genre-specific thing or very niche kind of area, that they work in, or a type of service they provide, or a company, and they're thinking, oh yeah, this is great for our branding, and we want to start a podcast, but it's hard for them to actually go ahead and do that. How do you coach them?
That's an interesting question, because first off, I think of podcasts as websites. When websites first came out, everybody needed a website, but they didn't know what to do with it. But they needed a website. Got to have one because everybody else has one. So I think the most important thing with podcasting is, why do you want to do this? What do you want to accomplish here? And the folks who want to make a lot of money doing podcasting, good luck with that. That doesn't happen. The companies who...
It does. It's just not the norm.
But it's not the norm.
It can. But yeah,
there are some out there.
There is not a pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow, so to speak. And the second thing is, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan for this podcast? Think of it as a weekly a television show or something like that. A 26-week. Can you give me a 26-week commitment to doing this? Because if you can't, don't waste your time. We are not an inexpensive place to do podcasts. There are podcast places out there they're doing like $35 an hour. It's like, I don't think so. And the problem is they were in a former life something else, and they're trying to catch on to this podcast phase. So they plop a couple of microphones on a table and then say they're podcast people. Podcasting is broadcasting. Podcasting, the core of podcasting has come from NPR and such like that, where you do in-depth conversations about stuff. And if you can do that, that's really good. So our experience in broadcast, both Bruce and I coming from broadcast, that's a real important element. We are not just a studio that used to produce music last week that now decided we want to do podcasts. This is where we come from. And this is the important element. So the question is, what do you want to sell? Do you want to, you're not going to make a lot of money going out to shoot with this thing. What do you want to do? And the other thing that we try to help shy away from is don't be stupid and be controversial with profanity and dumb things just because you want to show off to your buds at the bar. Do something that is relevant, that moves the needle and changes the world. If you want to do that, then we can help you because it's so much more than just sitting in the podcast studio here and pushing record and letting you do a podcast. It's got to be meaningful, and you got to have a plan.
I think that there's, I look at it a little bit different, but I think that there is we were talking earlier about authenticity and connection. And Ray was talking about the language there. We have a specific client that we have in mind who is really kind of trying to be kind of the community person, loved by the community kind of thing, family, all this stuff like that, but has a little bit of a hard time watching, language on their podcast. So you're not going to get a lot of family listenership.
Exactly.
What do you think? Yeah?
However, it depends on your who your listener is. Yeah. It depends on the content. It depends on the situation. It depends on I listen to podcasts that sometimes may have a language type thing in there, but it's content that's relevant to me and what I'm looking for, and that's the thing. The thing about podcasting is and just to kind of dovetail from what Ray was saying, it's why are you doing it? Like why? Mm-hmm. Like what is it? Who are you doing it for? And is there a connection? And as you know, podcasts now range from the most, incredibly, broad, general topics, it could be relationships or family or parenting, to the most minute, niche, thumbtacks, or something. But you get it. So, but there's that understanding of why you want to do it, and also understanding that there is a certain quality level that you really need to meet, because you can have great information, but if it's hard to listen to, if I have a truck that has a stereo system, and part of it's a subwoofer and stuff, and it's just like, it's amazing all the plosives that and you're trying to listen to this thing sometimes.
Good
and it's
point.
Just
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That becomes like, after a while, you're just like, now I don't know, that may be just the voice guy in me, so I'm like,
In those
step away from the
those
microphone.
Oh, that's a
years.
really good
Yeah.
point, Bruce. That's
But
a
it
really, really
becomes
good point.
distracted.
Quality.
And quality, and it can be any kind of distraction. It can be a content distraction. It can be a it could be something where you're so busy trying to make money on it, where every other sentence is some kind of affiliate push or whatever. So it really is this whole concept of you're really just making a connection. You're making a connection, and you want to make that connection frictionless in as many ways as you can. you want it to have this feel like just you and the host and the guest are sitting at the table together,
just like we're doing now. Exactly.
Just like we're doing now.
Hey, I wanted to bring up something too that we didn't talk about. For years, we were doing podcasting before it was called podcasting. Okay, we were actually working with our good friends at Enron. And we were doing a thing. It was a telephony-based program first, where you push one to listen to things going on in Buenos Aires or whatever. And then it went to, when they got bandwidth, we put it on the intranet then, okay. So we did the Enron thing, but then we started doing the advertising show. Bruce and I were affiliated with Brad Forsyth with the advertising show. And we started out on the radio, then we went to Sirius XM, and then we were syndicated and everything. And finally, it came to a point where it's like, well, why don't we just be on the internet? This is 2001 we started this show. And we were getting, toward the end there, 50,000 listens a month on the advertising show, which is kind of weird because it was a 2-hour show. Who has 2 hours to sit around and talk?
There was no iPod yet.
No.
There was no iPod yet.
No.
So there was not this, and especially no smartphones where all of a sudden, you can subscribe and the latest episode just pops into your. So these were people that they'd get on an email list, and when that email newsletter would come out every week, and they'd click on and listen to the episode. It's interesting that and by the time that show came to a close, was just about the time where the iPhone comes out, the built-in podcast, and then obviously the term podcast had kind of been bounced around a little bit, but it was kind of funny that by the time that show came to an end, then everything just went boom and exploded.
So much.
I think we're taking full responsibility for podcasting. Just like what was it? Gore took responsibility for developing the internet. We are taking responsibility for podcasting.
And what do you think of your
Steve Jobs and we were
and
tight.
when you think about it now, so many people. I think a number that's been thrown there, about 700,000 podcasts out there, or do you think there's more?
Yeah. Oh, sure, there's more.
I'm not sure, but it's probably.
Well, we'll see who comes through the door today with a podcast idea. Okay, that would be 700,001 or 2 or whatever.
Okay, and we are back with some technical difficulty there, but I'm happy we could reconnect and just go on.
No, actually, Nikki, I went out for coffee. Okay, so I apologize for that. Cheers.
And Bruce, you probably had also a run to.
I went to the beach.
Well. Nice.
If I look a little more sunburned there, I was just.
Actually, he can dive out of his second-story window into his pool, so that's truer than you might expect.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
because your booth is on a second floor, or
I have to tell a great story.
This is a wonderful
story.
Okay,
so for any voice actors that are out there, and you're looking at a booth.
Yeah.
Okay, so Craigslist. Okay, so I'm inside one of the, I think it's vocalbooths.com, their silver series. So they're like, I don't know, 7,000 or something like that on their website. And
that's
so
some
I was
expensive
looking,
foam there, buddy.
Yeah, so I was looking at, my camera's mounted or else I would show you around the place. No. So anyway, I was looking on Craigslist one time, and I see somebody had put up so there was a logistics company that was doing had trade show, leftover stuff from a trade show. And it was, there was a booth and it was wrapped, and it was actually vinyl wrapped in whatever that client was for the trade show. And it had this big metal sign on the top of it and stuff like that. And they were offering for $1,800 and they were out of Dallas. And so for those people who are not in the Houston or not in the Texas area, so Dallas is probably about a 4.5 hour drive from Houston area, so about 250 whatever miles. So we contact them, and Ray's like, offer him $1,000 for it. I'm like, I can't offer $1,000 for it. I mean, this is a $7,000 booth. They're already asking $1,800. So I offer $1,000. And they said, sure.
Uh-huh.
So now here's the problem. I got to get it down here. And if you own a vocal booth, you know these things are, the walls are 400 pounds or whatever.
Shipping.
And so,
yes.
So they're a logistics company. So I paid them like $400. They put the thing on the back of a truck with some guys, drove it down from Dallas to a suburb here of Houston. And then I hired, one of my neighbors owns a moving company. So I hired a couple of his big dudes, and they literally helped us bring these pieces up a flight of stairs.
Yes.
To an
my
upstairs room.
suggestion on that, by the way. Okay, it's like
and
there's
hold
no way
it.
I'm lugging this upstairs. No
And
way.
they held the walls while we put the screws in and everything.
Yeah.
When all was said and done, it cost me about $1,800 or so for a $7,000 booth. So be creative.
Yes.
Watch
Don't
Craigslist.
Be practical and do a little detective work.
Yeah,
as well.
you never know what kind of things.
You forgot
and I tell you what, I've as with many other talent and stuff. I mean, I am. This is an essential piece of tool because your room sound and everything like that is so important. And I can be doing work while there's all this stuff going on outside, and it doesn't stop me like it used to in years and years and years ago. So
Nikki can
for you
relate
voice
the
actors,
same
be
way.
Creative.
Yeah. Do like
can
Bruce
totally
and Ray.
relate.
You forgot a part of the story because the booth arrives. It is threatening rain here in Houston.
Oh yeah,
and it
like
arrives
tornado
in the
watch that
driveway
day.
on casters, and it's too tall to roll into the garage. So Bruce and I are there trying to take these 200-pound walls down before the rain comes. We did that. We actually beefed it up a little bit as well because it is a good vocal booth, but it wasn't a great one. We put vinyl mass material on the outside with green glue, and we added a nice layer of indoor-outdoor carpeting to make it look really spiffy on the outside.
On the outside.
But
the outside was pretty rough because what they did was for logistics and legality and stuff, they stripped all the vinyl wrapping from the outside, which was a major telecommunications brand that's 3 letters that ends with TNT. So they had to, by law, take all of that blank TNT vinyl wrap off of the outside.
And don't forget about the big metal sign that was on top promoting it.
Yeah, there was a huge metal sign with their logo on there that I took to like the local scrap metal shop and got like $150 for it.
And you even made money off of that.
I even made money.
No, it was a good deal. Yeah, don't be afraid to offer too
creative.
little.
Be creative.
Yeah,
when
people
you're looking
will sell
for those
stuff for
things.
less than it actually should be sold for, and I have no problem with that. Well, Nikki, look at your place now. You invested heavily in a booth.
I did.
We were talking about actually building a booth.
Yes, you
at
remember
Nikki's
that?
place.
You came here,
Yes.
you helped me make my case with my husband. Because
Yes.
he's like, okay, we're looking at the prices of the booths, and he's like, oh, there's no way we can spend that much or whatever. Let's just build one. Maybe it costs us half the money to build that or whatever.
No.
And we were going to hire a contractor who had zero idea of what an audio booth is, or, he just wanted to, he's like, oh, yeah, let's just hang it from the ceiling or whatever. I mean, he had like no idea. So
There
it
were a
was
couple
gonna
of
be
language barriers
lot.
there, Nikki.
Yeah,
one
that too.
was me trying to speak to a person who speaks fluent Spanish, and the other one was he not really understanding what we were trying to accomplish. So your husband discovered that, and the next thing you know, we're ordering your studio bricks or studio blocks, whatever it's called. What is it called again?
Yes, which
Bricks.
came here. Yeah, Studio Bricks.
Studio Bricks.
Which came here right when lockdown started. And
But
I
of
was
course.
so worried that it wouldn't get here on time because I'm like, well, the country is shutting down. The whole country is shutting down. I'm not going to get my booth. I was really in despair. But then, the not them, but Studio Breaks or someone that they hired to transport it. They say, ma'am, yes, deliveries will still happen even if the country is shutting down. Don't worry. We still need to deliver things, so you will get your booth. And so, okay, that made me calm down. And but instead of having more people that I wanted to help me out and bill it, because you couldn't be in touch with anybody else,
No,
you know.
you did the right
so
thing.
my son that was here, luckily, my 6'5" son, who is pretty athletic and strong, helped us, and between me and my husband and my daughter as well. And we only had a little mishap. So the door, which is a double glass door, fell on his toe and he lost a fingernail. I'm glad he didn't break his toe, but yes, yeah.
Well,
so that's a heavy door to be falling on your foot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, here's the other thing. There are some of these places that are selling for way too much money, as far as I'm concerned. Some PVC with some moving blankets hanging on it on grommets. It's like, you have got to be kidding me. First of all, you can go to Home Depot and you can buy moving blankets. There are some folks. One of the guys who was here, what I had him do is put furring strips. Again, this is not soundproof. You're controlling the sound with PVC or with the blankets.
The difference between sound absorption versus sound.
Yeah, and people don't get that.
Protection.
I'm going to put foam up on the wall and I'm not going to hear the lawn guys. Well, that's not true.
No, that's not.
But what we had them do with this one guy did a great job. Furring strips on the top and the bottom, and then simply stapling moving blankets with a kind of an undulation on the walls. He put it on the walls, the ceiling, and it's a great vocal booth because you're creating that sound barrier, not a sound barrier, but allowing the sound to go through the blanket into the wall. You're effectively creating a wall trap. Right behind me, these are wall traps. This is Roxol insulation with, and they're nothing more. They're just stopping the reflection. And this is Studio B. This is our voice coaching studio. This is our Source Connect studio as well. And it's tamed, and you can't see above me, but there's also clouds that we have hung. And when you've got a vocal booth, whether you've got Bruce's or Nikki's vocal booth, you're in a better place. Is it completely soundproof? No, it's not. The anechoic chamber at NASA is the only completely soundproof booth. And wouldn't that be nice to have one of those? But no. But the thing is, when people are getting into voiceover, the thing that we don't want to see them do is to buy every gadget that's out there. That somebody says, well, this probably work, this will stop sound. There's a big foam basketball that people, I won't say the name, that say you put it over the end of the microphone and it's going to make it a great vocal experience. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you got to be smart when you're getting into VO, and a lot of these people are getting into VO. Don't spend money like crazy. Don't go out and buy expensive 416s or 87s or something like that. Get into it comfortably. Be smart. You're starting a business. You got to have the right tools, of course, and you've got to have the right space. We've sent many people into their closets because a closet is a great vocal booth with all of the clothes hanging there and such. But, in the case of Bruce, if you can get a good deal on a vocal booth, go do it. In your case, you needed this. You are a professional voice actor, and you need a good professional space to work and thrive. So, but you also made that decision well into your career. This is after you have done this for many, many years.
Exactly. Yes, I've had it for 3 years now, and but before that, I was recording in the room with acoustic foam all around, which only helped me reduce the noise from the outside to about 50%. I could still hear the lawn guys. I could still hear the power washing, and boy, could I hear the power washing. But yes, so the next step up was that. So what I had to do before is just record when there was silence, stop when the garbage truck was going by, whatever. So there's all of these interruptions. But ever since I've had the booth, I've been able to record whenever I need to record. Yeah. And so that's been a blessing.
If you're doing a Source Connect session, or you've got a client on with a digital phone patch or something there, you can't stop. You have to think about the fact, what kind of Bush League operation is this? We got to wait for the airplane to fly over. That happens as well. Yeah. But it's important that you present yourself professionally. You are a professional voice actor. Present yourself that way. Another thing, Nikki, that we see sometimes, and you talked about Sovas and the great conversations that we had with Rudy and Joan as well. And one thing that Bob Bergen said, show up, be nice, and stay late if you need to. Be nice.
Yeah.
And we're finding I'm dealing today with a voice actor. It's like, we need to get a spot done today. Can you please call me back? And I'm hoping that this gentleman who will be doing the spot will be doing that. You gotta be available for people, and you gotta respond professionally. I'm hoping after we're done with this podcast that I've got an email from him that we're good to go.
And you're
Because
good
again,
to go.
it's
Yeah.
our reputation on the line for bringing somebody to the table.
Yeah.
We've had voice actors show up late for sessions sometimes. Oh, there was a train, or traffic was horrible. You know what? Figure that out before you get to the session, and come prepared to be a professional at the session. And I think that, again, is part of the coaching process, teaching them to be a professional. It's no different than when you hire the guys to come fix your plumbing. They put the booties on when they come in your house so they don't make your house dirty. Little things like that go a long way.
They go a long way. And you also, I think, both of you guys have a very good way of dealing, we're talking to clients. We've been in sessions there at Radio Lounge where I just can see how clients are so comfortable with you because you make them feel at home right away. And I just want to point that out because it's not easy. Sometimes clients ask for very specific things that can't always be done. And whenever they present something, you guys find the solution right away. And you make everyone feel at ease. And so talk to me about some of the ways that you have that and the ways that you've developed that, in talking to clients and just doing that, just making them feel comfortable and they trust you. And you guys have had clients for years and years, that they know they come to you, they know they're going to get quality and that you're going to deliver. So how do you create that trust?
It's a relationship thing. It's really no different. You've got to, when the people who come in here, whether they're a voice actor or an agency or a client, a direct client or something, they need to understand that you are there for them. You are there to respect their wishes and give them good guidance. We've had many clients, a local chain of hospitals here, that rely on us to coach the talent, even though they are the connection point between the talent and the product, because they understand that, Radio Lounge, they've just got this way with people. They can make the talent feel good, feel comfortable, and understand the importance of giving a great performance. So it's a level of respect, but it's all about, as with anything in life, it's all about the relationship. Do you do they trust you? Do they believe in what you do? And the setting here, Nikki, and you've been here before, you understand that it's first of all professional, and second of all, it's a relaxed environment. It's called the Radio Lounge. It's an appropriate name for this place because that's what happens here. You come in here, you're going to do a good job because you feel good about your environment, and there's no level of frustration for a talent and or for an agency or a direct client. So relationships, I think, are the key here.
I think in addition to that, it is relationships, being both sides of the glass, being both talent at times, and then being both producers at times. You get really good at recognizing situations too. So you start to get, for example, if you are working and you've got a client in an agency and you're doing the production part of this, and you can tell when a client is starting to or when a voice talent is starting to get frazzled. And so you know that you've been in those situations before. You've been, we've all been in. I mean, we've been in many voiceover sessions that just go smooth as silk, and we've also been in some of those voiceover sessions where, I mean, you really, they ran you through your paces, and so we try to we bring some of that experience, because what we can start to tell where it's a law of diminishing returns. So there are times where we see a client And sometimes they may not be used to direct. They may be somebody new at an agency. They're not used to directing talent. And we can see that what is happening here is you guys are starting to push the talent into uncomfortable territory. And this is only just going to start spiraling downhill. So at that point, that's where we kind of, having that relationship with those clients and having the relationship with that, so we're able to, hey, you know what we've seen work, let's try this.
Yeah.
And okay. And a lot of times we're able to kind of salvage that, and that's just one particular situation. But those personality types too. In other words, Ray and I are pretty easygoing, personality types, and so we tend to, connect well not only with clients and agencies, but also because we're also talent, we can connect to the talent. We know what we've been in their shoes. We know and so we know the types of things that give them creature comforts that are helpful in situations. So you do that year in and year out. Ray and I was looking at this the other day. Ray and I have been working together as a team here for 32 years.
That's amazing.
So, that's a,
I had no idea
so
it was
you,
that
and
long
you
with
start to
somebody.
read people, it's like there are times we can be in a session or something and I'm a talent and Ray's the producer and there may be something and it's like, and all I have to do is look at him a certain way, and he
Right away,
he can
he knows.
read my mind like a book, So it's just this, that relate. And that also happens with some of our clients. We have some of our clients that we've had for 20, 25 years now. And so it just gets to a point where, if we think that there's something that can be done that improves it or improves the scenario or something like that, they're open to that. They're like, okay, yeah, you guys, we trust you on this. And so, it just takes that, you have to build that trust and
Yes. it is.
Another, I want to tag on to that as well. There are a couple of types of directors that come from either direct clients or agencies. Some that don't know what they really want. They know they're not getting what they want, but then they don't know how to really demonstrate what they want, which is very confusing. And that's many times in a session. If we've got somebody in the booth and we see that they're getting confused and not good direction, we will take over and make some gentle, persuasive suggestions on how to do things. And a lot of times, you might have the perfect take on the first take, but we're paying a lot of money for this person. We got to get more than one take, so we'll do it and do it again until the agency or the client is happy with that. But you have to keep the voice actor calm and composed and confident, and you have to make sure that you don't cross the line as the relationship goes with the agency or the director or whatever. One of the things that we talk about here in the coaching sessions is some of the folks come in, well, what if I said it this way instead? It's like, okay, sitting over there directing this session is the person, the copywriter that they paid a whole bunch of money for to come up with this copy. They are not interested in your opinion of how it could be better.
You cannot
Shut
change
up
the
and
script.
read the copy and come prepared as well. That's another thing. So many times people will come into a session and they will not know the right name of the product, the right name of the city. It's like, shouldn't you have done your homework before you come to this session? Now, that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen occasionally. And that's something that we teach as part of the coaching process is be prepared. Yeah. Part of the ways we do a lot for the Houston Symphony. And there are so many names out there of guest artists and composers and conductors and such like that. So you go to
different languages.
You go to YouTube and you hear a couple of iterations of how they actually say the person's name. And most of the time, Bruce, I think we get it right. There are times when we'll have to redo something, but we try. And again, there's that level of respect, the relationship thing with our clients. They believe that at the end, they're going to get something good out of Radio Lounge or out of the voice actors and both of us and the people that we bring through here. So it's
absolutely.
it's an important thing that we do as well.
Yeah. Can you guys talk a little bit about that great series that you did on Sovas? Because I think those episodes were just phenomenal
Oh
on
yeah.
Feel the Ad Love.
Those were
And
fun.
you had Rudy Gaskins and Joan Baker and also Joe Cipriano and Bob Bergen and Debbie Harada.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how that started or whose idea it was to do that series. And it explains very well what the SOVAs are, the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, how people get nominated or, the voting process and the whole thing.
I love that. The fact that you were connected with that too is really cool. You were actually a recipient of an award or two
An award from
that
Yes,
organization.
in 2017. I've been nominated 3 times, and then I got an award in 2017.
We met Joan and Rudy, and we thought, well, actually through Debbie.
We threw
Debbie
Debbie,
is on the
'cause-
board. That's right. She's on the board for Sovas.
Yeah.
Do you know that every coaching student that we have come through here, the very first thing we have them do, sign up for the Sovas newsletter. It's free. You're going to get a real good introduction to voiceover, and this is a great organization. So go get that newsletter and start listening to that thing as well. But Debbie, Debbie's one of our voice actors on some commercials that we do here, and I said, Debbie, can we do something to help promote the Voice Arts Awards? Can we do a podcast where this is Feel the Ad Love? She goes, oh yeah, that'd be wonderful, and it's like it's a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, we're going to do it. So that's how we hooked up with Joan and Rudy, and then people like Bergen and Cipriano, and of course we had Debbie on there as well. These are really, really good people and accomplished people in the voice acting field. So it was a lot of fun, and it was just kind of a gift from Radio Lounge to the voiceover industry and to Sovas and the things that they do. Let's promote this event. I said, for the next 6 months, we're going to do stuff to promote this event. And they said, sure, absolutely. And that's what we did. Go ahead, Bruce.
And I will say, being a voice actor, and I've listened to a ton of voiceover podcasts, and although this does seem biased,
why not? Go for
those
it.
Those are some of the, especially that Bob Bergen one. That Bob Bergen
It's
podcast
hilarious. It's a
is
hilarious
probably
episode.
has to be required listening for any voiceover artist, because not only does Bob tell the story, but we brought things out of Bob that I don't think he intended us to bring out of him. And by the end of this, we were laughing so hysterically we could hardly breathe or speak. It was phenomenal. But the cool thing is within all of the silliness that was happening and the laughter and the joking and all of this stuff were these incredible pearls of wisdom, these nuggets of just voiceover gold within those, and it was just so much fun. And of course, we were promoting the awards coming up at that time, and that was one of the most fun things I think in voiceover I've ever done. Was those podcasts. We just did just a few of them there, upcoming to the event. I think we did three or four coming up there,
maybe.
5, and oh man, it was. Yeah, so it's required listening. I'm just saying that
Yes,
you have
please.
to. You
I'm going to
have
link to that specific episode with Bob, and then people can go back and listen to the others.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's definitely one of the ones they should listen to. Bruce, I wanted to ask you something about. I saw that you were reading Atomic Habits, and I heard an interview with. I forgot the name of the author, but he's amazing.
James Clear. Is it James
think
Clear?
so.
I think.
Yes, I think it is James Clear.
He's there. I get it. Sometimes I get them all confused in my head. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But yes.
But how has that helped you? Has it made an impact on you? Has it helped you in any way in your career, in your life?
Yes. That is probably part of it. I am sometimes horrible at what I call discipline and commitment kind of thing. Some things I can be very disciplined on, but there's some areas where I'm kind of like, I'll be, and I'm no different than probably 90% of everybody else, where it's like I go hot and cold. I'll be very disciplined in some of the things I do, and then I'll end up somehow slacking off for a while and stuff. But I do believe that no matter what you do, whether you're a voice actor or if you're in a completely other field, never stop pushing for self-improvement. Never stop trying to make yourself better. You mentioned Atomic Habits, and one of the things in that book is be 1% better today than you were yesterday. Because then by the time you accumulate a month or 6 months or a year, you've created incredible traction. So whatever that may be, whether it's habits, it could be marketing, it could be it could be things specifically with voiceover. It could be performance, it could be coaching, it could be whatever. But just always be pushing for improvement. Just always trying to do that. There were times where, there was a big section of time where I really stepped away from voice acting per se, where it was like I was just running the business side of things with the Radio Lounge and producing and doing all that stuff, and I'd do the occasional spot and everything, but I didn't actively pursue the voice acting. And then when I decided that I was going to, I just started putting one foot in front of the other and trying to be a little bit better and do a little bit more and this and that. And sometimes it became almost an obsession, and sometimes it would be very frustrating. I'd bang my head against the wall because I wanted to improve in ways that it just wasn't happening. But it's just like anything else. It's this thing where it's peaks and valleys, but are you creating an upward trend? So no matter what it is, just be patient, be consistent. If consistency and discipline is a problem, learn how to try to be better in being disciplined and commitment and consistency, and then pursue some of these other areas. But yeah, I did. I loved that book. In fact, I've read it probably twice, and I probably need to go back and read it again.
But yes, we can definitely all do with little improvements. Atomic meaning small ones. So that's. Yeah. Small steps that you can do every day, and then just building up from there.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to put it as far as small steps go, because I think anytime you give yourself too lofty of a goal, you're going to fall short, and that's going to discourage you. So little things make a big difference over time, and doing something daily. Well, anything that you do as a repetitive thing, building good habits. Practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray, how do you navigate the highs and lows of the business? I mean, not only as a production company, but also with all the other things then that you do, relating to the different areas of work that you do. Of course, there was a pandemic that was hard for all of us. Yeah. But just as, a general thing, this is a tough business with all those peaks and valleys. And so how do you navigate those?
Life is tough, isn't it? And faith is the forefront of my rock. And that's how I get through ups and downs, basically, very simplistically. We do a thing in the morning as a family called Psalm 91. We do it as a family. And that is a prayer of strength and protection and such. And as long as you've got that foundation, you're good, because days are going to suck. And days are going to be sunshiny and blue skies and beautiful as well. But to get through the not-so-blue sky days, the rainy days, in my particular case, faith is the foundation. Very simplistically. Nothing, of course. Nothing beyond that. And if you can reduce it to that, that's a pretty good way to move forward. You never want to make anything too complex in life. You don't want to second guess yourself. If you've got something you can lock onto that gives you good feelings, good vibes, and an opportunity to grow and be better, then that's what you lock onto, and you do that faithfully. So that's my foundation.
That is amazing, and is something that is a great bit of advice for all of us to follow. How can people find you, when they're interested in doing a new demo or starting a podcast or getting some coaching? Where can people log on to?
We're in the yellow pages under demos. What?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, we don't do that anymore. Never mind. RadioLoungeUSA.com is our website, and you can reach out to us anytime. We do discovery sessions as well. No obligation. Just come in and talk with us. We put you in the booth, and we do that. We've got people as well who are established voice actors who, there's one lady in particular who lives in Hawaii. She has relatives here in Houston, and she's coming in to do some demos. We'll do some.
So for voice acting, we have a lot of local actors that come in, and we love having them when they're here in person because they get the vibe and they get the. But we understand, like this podcast it's a global audience, and we also understand that voice acting is a global business now, and so we know that it's not always an option to be able to get into a studio. And of course, many voice actors have taken advantage of Zoom coaching and everything. Mm-hmm. And if there was anything that COVID really taught us was that it's okay to be, to do things remote before where, it used to be like, what? Well, now it becomes more of the norm. So we do. We offer, Zoom coaching, in-person coaching. Location doesn't stop anything anymore. We're able to do demo sessions. We do demo sessions here in our place. We also do demo sessions where talent are recording from their own locations. If they don't have a setup, then we kind of work and help. We either help them kind of get a setup from wherever they're at, or find a studio where they can connect to us via a Source Connect or something like that. But there is a multitude of ways that you can reach out and work with us in terms of the voice coaching.
As your vocal booth used to say, reach out and touch someone. Okay.
Yes, I think my vocal booth actually used to have a New York Yankees logo along with that company logo and a big Derek Jeter thing. Which if you're a Yankees fan, I'm sorry, but we're here in Houston, and so I would have a Jose Altuve, but then the booth would only be like 4 feet. Something tall. And
Don't say that.
Oh, come on.
He's
love
big
Jose.
In stature.
Jose, small and mighty.
I love that man. Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Guys, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much again for joining me today and for all your pearls of wisdom. This is amazing. People have like a very clear idea of how they can reach out to you. And of course, then they'll be following your podcast and just taking note of all the amazing bits of advice that you've given to me today. So what is like one last thing that each of you would like to say that it's, let's say it's a little message in a bottle that you would want to put, and not only for the industry, but just for people in general, okay? Bruce, do you think of something? Does something come to mind?
I think when it comes to, let's say for voice acting, be patient, soak it all in, absorb it, practice. This is a business and a job just like any other one. It's going to have ups, it's going to have downs. You're not going to go in and get your first job at a large company as the CEO. You're going to have to come in and work your way as somebody new to a company. So that's the way the voiceover is don't get discouraged, but also understand that this is not an overnight thing where people come in and it's like, wow, you know what? I watched this YouTube video and I bought this USB mic and all right, I'm ready to make 6 figures this year. It takes time. It takes time. It took me several years to get to that point. So that's my piece of advice: is just be patient. Work it. Be consistent. 1% every day.
Exactly.
And practice. Keep going, and you'll get it. You will get it. You will rock on there.
No, that is
Be professional.
right, really on point.
Be professional. Be on time. Check your ego at the door. Be nice. And make sure that you do and leave the very best impression with everyone that you touch, whether it's an audition or a session. And stay in contact with people. Don't overdo it. If you're going to communicate with somebody, do it in a relevant way. Don't try and sell somebody on yourself. Just remind people. Be creative as well in the way you present yourself. That's an important asset as well. But the biggest thing is be nice. Be nice, and it will come right back at you.
Exactly. Well, that is great advice for everyone to take to heart, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Ray and Bruce. This has been a true pleasure, and I look forward to collaborating with you guys soon, to seeing you guys soon around town or at a burger joint or someplace else.
Absolutely. It was totally our pleasure.
Great job, Nikki. Keep it going, okay?
I will do.
You can do
I will
this.
do.
You can do this. I love it.
Thanks for joining us on La Pizarra. Want to listen to more episodes? Visit lapizarrapodcast.com or nickimondellini.com/La Pizarra, where you can sign up for our newsletter and get exclusive previews of future episodes, as well as resources for your creative business. Tune in next week for another interesting interview.